Dr. Edwards, Mr. H, you're not allowed to raise your hand for this part, but how many of you can tell me the number of voting members in the House of Representatives? Nice. Can you tell me who the authors of the Federalist Papers are? Or do you know what territory the United States bought from France in 1803? Nice, okay, so like 2. To many of us, these seem like fun trivia questions. If we get them wrong, we laugh, and maybe worst case, lose points in Class Jeopardy. But to others, these are not just fun trivia questions. To them, a wrong answer can ruin their chance of becoming a United States citizen. It was a typical day in Dr. Edwards' human rights class. Our homework had been to watch the film, on her shoulders, pick out 3 scenes we found the most interesting, and describe why. We went around the room frequently using phrases such as, "It's so sad and it makes me upset," to describe the scene. After maybe the 8th person said this, Dr. Edwards paused and said, "You are not allowed to tell me it's sad if you are not doing anything to help." This phrase really struck out to me because he was absolutely right. I wasn't doing anything to help. Shortly after that, Dr. Edwards extended the opportunity to volunteer with COMSA. Our role would be to help immigrants prepare for their upcoming citizenship exam. Soon enough, the first day of service is here. Before the class started, I went to Ed's with a friend. I was just kind of telling her about COMSA and like what our role as S&C students would be, which was we would be helping teach a citizenship class and conduct practice interviews. After I finished telling her this, she looked at me and said, "Wow, it sounds like you're doing something amazing." There was nothing unusual about her response, but I couldn't help but pause and consider this further. It sounds like you're doing something amazing. But was I really? Carrying this into the back of my mind, I attended my first citizenship class. Going into it, I was nervous, probably as nervous as I am right now, but I was more nervous about mispronouncing names and not knowing the correct answer to the questions because at the time I didn't know the answers to the questions. But as Mr. H showed me how the class ran and we just kind of got through it, I realized my nerves were insignificant. Many of the students in the class are refugees from Somalia. A civil war has torn their country apart for more than 20 years, and as a result of these distressing circumstances, they had been forced to migrate. Now, they were in a new country, learning a new language, and studying history questions that many of us in the US don't even know the answer to. My nerves were insignificant. As the class continued, Mr. H and I took turns asking the students questions. If a student got the answer wrong or didn't know what we were asking, everyone just jumped in to really work to ensure the students knew the correct answer at the end of the class. Overall, the atmosphere was really fun and encouraging, and by the end of it, I found myself catching on to the routine of things. When the class was over, the students thanked us, and each class that followed, they never missed a thank you. The months flew by, and soon I was leading the classes and interviews on my own. I had worked with so many amazing individuals and even was lucky enough to see a few of them become citizens. While COVID had limited much of our interactions to being virtual, an in-person gathering was planned in March. I was seated in a circle with a big plate of Somalian food on my lap. The food was outstanding, definitely 10 out of 10, recommend it. And I had been greeted with kindness, laughter, smiles, and even some hugs. It was one of the most welcoming environments I've ever been in. Looking around, I remember recognizing some students from class. They were laughing, relaxed, stress-free, and just talking with their families and friends. Taking in this scene, I remember thinking back to my original question. Was what I was doing amazing? And the answer to that was no. I wasn't doing anything amazing. The reality was that these students were the ones doing amazing things, and I was just a small step in their journey. Thank you.